Good morning. It is August 4th. Can you believe that? And today is going to be a nasty day, we think, rain-wise. This tropical storm or hurricane, whatever it has now become, is going to be coming up our way. And so I hope that you have all your hatches battened down and you are ready for up to, they said yesterday, 8 inches of rain. That's quite a lot to drop in such a short amount of time. Today we have the reading from Proverbs 4, and it's all about wisdom. It starts out by saying, "Listen, children, to a father's instructions, and be attentive that you may gain insight. For I give you good precepts. Do not forget my teaching. When I was a son with my father, he taught me and said to me, 'Let your heart hold fast my words. Keep my commandments and live.'" Get wisdom. Get insight. And he goes on from there. But it's an imperative. Get wisdom. Get insight. Whatever you do, no matter what else you are doing, make sure that you get wisdom. Get insight. So how do we get wisdom? According to the person in Proverbs, we listen to our parents' teaching. And some of us have had wise parents and we've learned a lot from them. And some of us have had parents that were a little bit more difficult to deal with and maybe didn't pass on things. I also learned a lot of wisdom from my grandparents. And I think that was really, really helpful in my life. But there's also another way that we can get wisdom. In the book of James in the New Testament, James says to the people he is writing to in verse 5 of chapter 1, "If you lack wisdom, ask of God, who gives to everyone liberally, generously." If you lack wisdom, ask God and he'll give it to you. That's a pretty simple answer, isn't it? But in order to be able to get wisdom, we have to be able to listen to what God is saying. And the best way to listen to what God is saying is to hear what God is saying in God's word. So we start with something like this chapter in Proverbs 4, and we continue and we read the prophets and what they have to say. We read the New Testament and the words of Jesus and the wisdom that he taught his disciples. We read Paul and we read the wisdom that he wrote, many times interpreting the words of Christ and interpreting the Old Testament for Christians as he saw it at that time. And the other apostles who also wrote letters. So we have lots of wisdom in this book, this Bible. And that's one way to get wisdom. Listening to our parents is another way to get wisdom. Learning from teachers is a way to get wisdom. The interesting thing about wisdom in the book of Proverbs is that wisdom is female. Wisdom is personified in a woman. "Do not forsake her," verse 6 says, "and she will keep her. Love her, and she will guard you." The beginning of wisdom is this. Okay, what is it? What's the secret? Get wisdom. The beginning of wisdom is to get wisdom. And whatever else you get insight. We see a lot of things in these days that don't look like wisdom. At least they don't look like wisdom to me. We see some foolish actions by some of our politicians and by other people that harangue others, say things that we think probably aren't that wise. And we don't have to be like that. We can choose. We can pray and ask for wisdom from God. We can ask the divine feminine wisdom to come and be part of us. Because if we lack wisdom, we can always ask of God, and God will give us wisdom liberally. Wisdom is not knowledge. You can have all the knowledge in the world and still be a fool. And sometimes the people with the wisdom are people like my grandfather, who only had a 6th grade education. Get wisdom, get insight, and follow her ways. See you next time.